Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today our topic is the second part of an assessment of Pakistan urban policies 1947 to 1977. That is the 50 years urban policies, what we have done, what problem we have faces in this era. So let us start with the next part of assessment of Pakistan urban policy, that is Pakistan urban policies, objectives and its strategies. The sense of an urban economy and social organization is that traffic gridlock affects all, rich or poor, as do air pollution, environmental degradation or poor garbage disposal, and shortage of affordable housing. This is the fundamental condition of urban life. A city is a system of externalities that ties together the fates of all the citizens. The management and the organization of these externalities to promote satisfying and fulfilling life for all the objectives of urban policies. It is not that Pakistan has done little about urban problem. Pakistan has a long and distinguished record of urban policy planning at the national level. It was one of the pioneering countries in formalizing physical planning and housing as a development function in the third world as well as in the first world. Its urban policies are primarily reflected in 5-year plans and national development budgets. Overview of Pakistan urban policies is based on examining of 5-year plans in this sector. Pakistan is a lower income country. In 1993 to 1994, per capita gross national income in 1987 is $370, with a large about 128 million in 1995 and rapidly growing population, namely at about 2.8% per year. Its resources are limited and saving rate low. It has limited capacity to fulfill the basic need of its population. Therefore, its urban policies are going to be constrained by limitation of resources. The question therefore is how limited resources have been developed. To answer this question, we will examine the pattern of development expenditure and the plan allocation. Here is the physical planning and housing sector. The public expenditure on development has increased dramatically in current market price from about rupees 5 billion in 1955 to 1960 to projected 752 billion in 1993 to 1998, almost 150 times. The expenditure on physical planning and housing (PP&H) increased 13 times from the same period, though the increase peaked at 40 to 44 times in the decade 1983 to 1993, when allocation for the sector reached at a high water mark. The public expenditures on PP&H have not increased at the same rate as the overall size of development expenditure. As a proportion of total expenditure, public investment in physical planning and housing were at the peak in the earlier period 1955 to 1965 and reached the same level in 1983 to 1988 in 99.37%. Otherwise, their share has remained relatively low, about 5 to 6%. Currently, they are at the lowest level in the 8th plan 1993 to 1998. This analysis suggests 2 points. Public role in PP&H is relatively limited, primarily meant to lay the policy and infrastructure framework within which private investment, particularly in housing, can play a major role. Physical planning and housing, like other social sectors continue to have a lower priority in development plans. Urban policies in 5 years plan. From the beginning, the basic tenet of public policies in physical planning and housing has been that the government's program must be designed to mobilize the labor, funds, and physical resources of people who will own and use the houses and common buildings. The public role is to lay the institutional infrastructure, financial framework for the private market to function effectively and equitably, and that government should provide resources which cannot be provided by individuals. By the 7th Plan 1988 to 1993, the same goal was being expressed in the more concentrate term, yet retaining in basic thrust, that is, the public sector role will be limited to the provision of service and housing sites for low and lower middle income group, and programming will be implemented on self-financing basis. And Pakistan's urban policies do envisage public provision of houses and community service for the poor. Here is the strategies of urban development. The Pakistan urban and housing programs are organized under 5 policy areas, namely housing and Kachi Abadi improvement, provisions of community utilities such as water supply, sewerage, public transport, sanitation, etc. in cities and villages. Third is institutions building for surveys, design and planning of cities, formation of provincial and local planning and housing department and laboratories. Fourth is government building and public officials housing, as well as the development of the national capital, and special projects particularly for tribal areas, Azad Kashmir, etc. The plan allocations for various programs under these headings have been added together and have a strong analysis of relative proportion of plan allocation for each of these policies areas are observed and diverged. So there has been a remarkable contingency and continuity of programs over 40 years of development planning in PP&H sector. The mix of programs has remained unchanged, though their respective share of allocation have varied over time. The objectives of programs have remained almost unchanged, that is, plot development, housing schemes, urban water sewerage development, architectural and planning institutions, and government employees housing. Except for institutional building, almost all other programs aim at the development and servicing of land and building. So the public work and constructions have remained the predominant instrument of urban policies. So the first plan to sixth plan, the relative emphasis in urban policies as reflected in changing proportions of allocation in 5 policy areas, has shifted from provision of plots and housing in the public sector to building community utilities and infrastructure. The share of housing and Kachi Abadi programs has successively dropped from 47 to 59% in the 1960s to 16.8% in 1980s. On the other hand, the share of allocation from water, sewerage, etc., namely community utilities, increased from 23% in the second plan to about 53 and 40% in the fifth and the sixth plans. partially, it may also be a reflection of changing priorities of the international aid agencies. Developing and expanding the national capital, Islamabad, and building government offices as well as housing for public officials have progressively ballooned into a major component of urban development policies. Over 40 years, the share of these programs have increased from about 15% in 1960 to 1965 to 44% in 1983 to 1993, with variation along with the way. So, a substantial part of public investment in urban development and housing has been set aside to serve the government itself. Comparing tool allocation and actual expenditure, it may be observed that during the initial three plan period, actual expenditure on PP&H were substantially less than the initial allocation. The expenditure of PP&H for exceeded allocation during 1970 to 1978 Bhutto periods of populist emphasis on plots for low-income households. Since then, expenditure on PP&H have almost equaled or exceeded plan allocation. The present era of privatization may be inducing cutbacks in public expenditure. Plan evaluation suggests that targets for plot development, government buildings, and housing were fulfilled to a high proportion, and community utilities or institutions building were achieved at lower level. In implementation, the urban policies turned out to be titled all the more towards land development, plot supply, and government housing and building. So finally, I want to add two caveats to the foregoing observation. One, programming allocation are revised during the plan period due to fluctuation, resources, inflation, cost variation, and varying administrative institutional capacity to implement different programs. And the second, the implementation of 5-year plans has been affected by two wars, 1965 and 1971, the separation of East Pakistan and martial law, and changes of government as well as shift in owners' priorities. Although altogether the plan allocation should be viewed as expression of objectives and strategies and only partially indicates of achievements. So here are the problems, social agenda, and the policy measures. Since 1947, since independence, Pakistan urban problem have not been only multiplied manifold, but also have evolved in their scope and complexity. Population growth and economic development, for example, have participated the need for a wide range of new urban services and necessitated radical restructuring of political and administrative institutions. Similarly, since constraints, technical changes, rising expectations, corruptions, and opportunities to work abroad have affected and in turn have been affected by urban life. All in all, the nature of urban problems has changed and correspondingly needs, goals, and objectives of urban development in sum, the social agenda of urbanization have been transformed. How have public policy responded to evaluating social agenda? So in next slide we will see the three phases of these programs. Let us look on the next slide, that is to explain the impact of urban policies and assess the outcome. We will explain programs through which the policies were implemented. For this purpose, these programs can be divided into three phases. First phase is the resettlement of refugees and laying the institutional framework from 1947 to 1970. Phase 2, the promise of mass housing, that is planned from 1971 to 78. Third phase is policy glory and the property boom. That phase were program phase were from 1980 to 1995. So let us look the first phase, the resettlement of refugees and laying the institutional framework. Pakistan independence was accompanied by millions of Muslims migrating from India and in the similar number Hindus and Sikhs leaving for India. By 1951, almost 10% of national population were refugees from India, while farmers and business were largely resettled on property left behind the Hindus and Sikhs. The homeless and jobless, usually workers and craftsmen, etc. Coverage to cities. The first wave of squatters that appears in Karachi, Lahore and Hyderabad in 1947 to 48, their resettlement was uppermost on the social agenda of urban policies and programs for the period of 1947 to 1970, namely those of the initial 3-5 years plan. Core housing, 1 to 2 room quarters scheme to resettle cleared out squared were the key element of the urban strategy in this period. That is, for example, in Karachi and the Sodiwal quarter in Lahore are example of such projects. Rehabilitation of refugees was also the rationale for the suburban expansion of major cities in the form of satellite town in Punjab, Balochistan and Sindh. These variabilities, new towns catered to middle and upper classes. The idiom of housing scheme and plot development forget in the pre-independence tradition of town planning was consolidated in policy instrument, and this has remained at the heart of the urban strategy in Pakistan. So the satellite town were followed by public funded suburban development projects, housing colonies and land servicing scheme in Lahore, Karachi, Rawalpindi, Faisalabad, Quetta and Peshawar. That is, for example, Gulbarg and Samnabad in Lahore, Gulshan-e-Iqbal in Karachi, etc. So these are the paralleling publicly developed landing and housing scheme. The building of government offices and housing of public functionaries started in Karachi, where facilities for the national secretariat were non-existent. This activity expanded to the building of new capital city at Islamabad in 1960. The government became the owner and manager of a large stock of office and residential buildings for its employees in the capital and other cities. All in all, the 3-5-year plans The 5-year plan 1955 to 1970 offered a comprehensive and progressive conception of urban policy, but in the translating their objectives into programs, they were titled toward property development. Even the institutional framework promoted under the plans were adapted to produce master plans and housing scheme for cities. The reorganization of provincial town planning departments into ministries of PPH and establishment of building research stations, as well as departments of city planning and architecture in universities, though necessary and fruitful measures, effectively become professional and administrative infrastructure for plot and housing development. So the policies issues such as planning, legislation and urban administration, traffic management remained unattended. About 51 to and 60% of target is in the first and the second 5-year plan relating to residential plot development were realized. So the evolution of the third plan's achievements summed up the outcome of the three plans' efforts. A crude organizational framework has been developed. Most pressing emergency tasks have been completed. Some water and sewage program and being tackled. Yet these plans could not keep up with galloping housing needs. Housing shortage increased from 0.6 million units in 1960 to 1.5 million dwelling, and only 10% of the population had self-piped water supply by 1970. The disparity between living condition of middle and the upper class on the one hand and the working class and the poor on the other widened, as did the difference in community facilities between federal and provincial capitals and second-tier cities, towns, and rural areas. The Planning Commission's own judgment at the end of the third plan was that the physical planning and housing policies pursued so far need a thorough re-examination and reorientation. So this was the first phase of this planning program. We will see the second and the third phase in the next lecture, and after that we will discuss the more about the urban policies, their internationalization of policy process, and the foreign advice and urban environment, and more the assessment and the outcomes after these policies, what we have, what was the consequences. So all these we will discuss in the next lecture. That's it.